No recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Florida. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. This is the day after the Super Bowl. I don't know about you, but I could have cared less who won or who lost yesterday. Neither one of my teams were even close to being in the Super Bowl, but I think there's a lot of people might be staying home today. Anyway, we have a little change of schedule. We normally do this show every other week, but we are doing a follow-up from last week with one of our top shows throughout the country, though we position it in the Florida area. Let me welcome our friend, Ray Ferrara, Provise Management Group. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Steve. And, like you, I had no dog in the hunt.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm a Buccaneers fan first.
Yes.
Washington Commanders second. Baltimore Ravens third. And I was 0 for 3 getting into the to the Super Bowl. So,
hey, your quarterback did the color portion of the game, though.
Yeah. He did indeed, and getting a little better. He's got to learn. He was a rookie this year
Yes.
for broadcasting, so we'll see what he does the next year. See if he improves a little bit.
Ray, I don't even know if he can actually do the games next year because he's now part owner of the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders now, and I don't know if it's considered a conflict, but we'll see. I've seen a lot of stories on it, but welcome to Monday morning after the Super Bowl. I mean, it was the most boring game, Ray. You know that. So with Philly winning, what does that mean for the Super Bowl theory and the markets?
Well, so Steve, the Super Bowl theory goes back to 1978, when a sports reporter began to recognize that there was a correlation between the winner of the Super Bowl and the markets for a given year. And at that time, it had held true for 11 of 12 years when he discovered the correlation. And essentially what it says is that if a team from the NFC or a former team from the NFL wins the Super Bowl, that it's going to be an up year in the market. And if an AFC team wins, then it's going to be a down year in the market. Now, as I said early on, this was true during the first 12 years, 11 of the first 12 years, and it worked very well. Today, it's still not bad at predicting the market because over time, you would think there would be a reversion to the mean a little bit, but it's 68% of the time the theory works. So according to the theory, since Philadelphia won and they're an NFC team, the market would be up this year. Now, the record over time has dwindled down from what was 93, 94% down to 68. So no big surprise there. But it's skewed a little bit towards the favorable part of the market from the standpoint of that they have not only all the teams in the NFC conference, but they have a couple of extra teams like Baltimore, Pittsburgh, that are on the AFC side. So there's more teams that are in the winning side for an up market. And since the market goes up generally 4 out of 5 years, which would be 80%, some are, it's fun. That's all it is. It's fun, and it just happens to be something that we can talk about. But I'm all for anything that works, Steve. And if the fact that last night Kansas City lost, I'm all in for an up market in the current year. But that's the Super Bowl theory. Team from the NFC or an old NFL team like Pittsburgh, Baltimore wins, market's up. If an AFC team wins, market's down.
Well, I want to get to who Provise Money Management is, but before I do that, we've already received 5 text messages, everybody with the same question. What is going on with gold? Seems like gold just passed 2,900.
Well, so first of all, gold has traditionally been a storehouse of value and has been a inflation hedge theoretically over time. The fact is that like any investment over time that has some positive momentum and use, which gold certainly does, both as a storehouse of value and for jewelry, as an example, and some industrial applications, the price goes up over time. If we were to go back to the late 70s, gold had jumped all the way to 800, and then it just collapsed and it went back up again in another spike about 12, 13 years ago, and then it kind of sat right around 2000 for a long period of time and then dropped down below that. And now it's spiked up again. And it's spiked up for what we believe are artificial reasons. One, obviously, is inflation, storehouse of value. The other is the concern around the world of all the things that are happening, like the Ukraine, the Middle East, threats from China, other things that are happening in the world. And a lot of people are also believing that perhaps because the market is so high relative to at an almost an all-time high and very high relative to a price to earnings ratio, that are fleeing towards gold in hopes that it will continue to be a storehouse of value. Unlike Bitcoin, which we have no use for whatsoever, or any of the digital currencies, gold at least has some intrinsic value attached to it because of the jewelry, because of some of the industrial uses, and because of its long history. That's why we've seen the gold go up. It too is literally sitting at an all-time high. And if you own it, you own a lot of it, if it's more than 3% of your portfolio, you might want to trim it back. If it's not part of your portfolio, then you might want to ease into it over time, maybe buying a little bit each quarter as time goes along by dollar cost averaging your way into it. We are not big holders of gold for our clients, although there are cases where we are using it, but it's not a large part of the portfolios.
Ray, you have built up such an incredible company.
Thank you.
Tell people about Provise.
Provise is a financial planning and investment management firm with the emphasis on the financial planning side that I founded back in August of 1986. And I visualized just this nice little lifestyle practice, Steve. Me and a couple of associates and a staff of 2 or 3. Excuse me. And it hasn't quite worked out that way, because today we have a staff of 31. We have 14 advisors. I had originally said when I started the firm, if I could get $100 million of money under management, that would be a significant achievement back in the 80s. But here we are today at something around $2 billion on behalf of our 1,100 clients in over 34 states, with obviously the vast majority of them here in Florida and the vast majority of those here in the greater Tampa Bay area. All of our advisors are certified financial planner professionals, CFPs, and we are held to an ethical standard of a fiduciary, meaning we always have to place our clients' best interest ahead of our own. And of course, we want people to get to know us, and we want to get to know them. We believe it is a relationship business. It's not a transactional business. And that's why we offer a 1-hour complimentary consultation in our Clearwater or Tampa office, or by Zoom, makes no difference, for us to learn about what people may want to talk to us about, and for us to share with them what they feel is important to them. So if they would like to take advantage of it, all they have to do is call our office at 727-441-9022. That's 727-441-9022. Or send us an email, info, I-N-F-O, at Provise, and that's PROVISE.com.
Ray, do you ever pinch yourself where you've taken this company? Because I would think in your business, the two most important words are trust and performa. And you're right there at the top of your game. Look what you've created, Ray.
Well, been blessed with a lot of hard work from a lot of great people that helped build the company with me. But most of all, we have very loyal clients, been with us for the most part a long time. It's a record of which we are extremely proud. In fact, we still have clients that we acquired back in the 80s that are still clients of our firm. And if we weren't living up to our obligations and our promises to our clients, we wouldn't be keeping people that long. It's one of the proudest records we have.
It's amazing. We have Alan in Clearwater. He says, I have a well-diversified portfolio with about 20% invested into international markets, including emerging markets. Should I put more into this sector?
Well, Alan, first of all, the short answer to that is no. And I think the better question is, do I have too much in that area? And the short answer to that is yes. And let me share with you why. I would tell you that up until about a decade ago, maybe a dozen years ago, just after the financial crisis, the common wisdom in a portfolio was to have somewhere between 15 and 20% invested internationally. And just as you have, the money invested between those that are emerging and those that are well established. Now, the fact of the matter is that if you look at results from international mutual funds and exchange traded funds over those past 10 or 12 years, you will find that they have significantly underperformed the U.S. markets, significantly underperformed. Today, we still believe that you need to be invested internationally. But we do not have a 20% allocation to international anymore. Most of our clients are in the 8 to 10% range. But Alan, let me tell you why we do that. We are invested in multinational companies, U.S. companies, that trade all around the world and sell their products and their services all across the globe. And so we are getting international exposure, but we're getting it through a U.S. company, where I don't have to worry about the politics of the country if it's emerging. I don't have to worry about the accounting principles. that might be involved. I don't have to worry as much about currency exchange, although it does have an effect on these domestic companies. So I would suggest that you strongly look at paring back your allocation to something less than the 20%, and then look for good international companies that are domestic companies that are working overseas with a lot of their revenue, and then you're going to get that exposure. So that's kind of a general comment. Obviously, I can't give you specific advice, but that's kind of the direction I think would be a good thing for you to consider doing.
Ray, with President Trump becoming president, what one or two stocks do you recommend for the next, say, 4 years?
Oh my goodness. So I guess the answer to that is who knows?
Everybody just stop whatever they're doing to listen to see what Ray's going to say.
So first of all, let me say that it's my belief that the president is going to do everything he can over the next 4 years to beef up our economy, because he wants a legacy from his first 4 years and then his second 4 years to show how well under his presidency the markets did. Clearly that happened during the first 4 years until we got to COVID, and then things tumbled, but it was still, the economy itself was in good shape, but the markets were not. Back in the first phase of his presidency, during 2017 until 21, everybody thought that the oil and gas industry would do very well, because of course drill baby drill is not a new phrase from President Trump. He came up with that back in the first one, and yet oil and gas energy in general did very poorly under his that first administration. A lot of folks think that AI will do extremely well here as kind of the next one, and it might. Clearly, it's been a big run over the last couple of years. For anybody who says AI, their stock just seems to magically jump up, which is probably a good warning sign for investors to look at. So here's what I think. I do believe that our economy will be better 4 years from now than it is today. So invest in a broad array of stocks and bonds, but particularly on the stock side. If you're not a stock picker yourself, then use mutual funds or exchange traded funds to help you in the selection of those investments. And if you want to just kind of play a general economy in the market, then just invest in the S&P 500 ETF. But not going to pick individual stocks, and certainly not one or two, because there's the only thing I can tell you, Stephen, is I'm going to be wrong, and so I'm not going to go out there.
So Mary in Sarasota says, my husband and I have never had a budget per se, but I'm wondering if a good idea as we enter into retirement. I am scared about not having a regular paycheck. You know, we have an older audience, Ray, a more mature audience, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way.
Well, first of all, I'm not too surprised that you haven't had a budget up to this point. A lot of folks don't have a budget during their working years, although many should, not everybody, but many should have a budget just to see how and where they're spending their money. We always refer to creepers, and these are things that creep into our expenses. And the next thing we know, all these creepers, when you add them up, become a substantial amount of money that could be devoted towards some of the financial goals. But as you get into retirement and you don't have those weekly or biweekly paychecks coming in, one has to think about the fact that there's no more bonuses out there. There's no more raises that are out there in general. And so it's a good idea to have a budget. And we recommend that that budget be done in such a way that you separate it into the variable and the. Sorry for the noise in the background,
It's
Stephen.
okay.
If you can hear it, we got folks out there taking care of the lawn, so I guess that's a good thing. Anyway, going back to the budget should be broken into two parts. What are your fixed expenses, the things you absolutely have to pay each and every month? And what are the variable expenses, the vacations, maybe eating out 2 times a week. Maybe it's you've got more than one club that you belong to. So what are the things you absolutely have to pay for, and what are the things that are variable? And what we try to do with our clients is we try to take those fixed expenses and match them up with predictable fixed income, so that our clients know that their basic lifestyle is going to be protected in a significant way when the market inevitably takes a downturn, because we have enough money coming in from Social Security, pensions, dividends, and interest to make sure that we're covering that lifestyle. And then over on the variable side, which could be affected by what happens in the market, if the market goes down, you're able to take one vacation instead of 2. You go out to dinner one night instead of 2, or 2 nights instead of 4, so that you are then able to make those adjustments without having to compromise your basic lifestyle. So that's why, Mary, I would encourage you to seriously consider putting together a budget, and you're going to be surprised at how much you really are spending. When people sit down and do a budget, we find that they say one of 2 things. They either say, gosh, I've got a budget, but it seems, and I know I'm making more, but I don't know where it goes. And that's the whole idea behind a budget. Find out where it is going so that you can be able to control those expenses once you enter into retirement. So again, think in terms of separating your fixed expenses from your variable expenses. Pay your fixed expenses with predictable fixed income, and pay your variable expenses with things that may go up and down over time.
I want to get to this last question in from Charlotte. She says, we have 4 life insurance policies on the life of my husband. 3 have cash value and 1 is term. Is there a need to keep these now that he is retired?
Our philosophy at Provise with regards to life insurance is there's 3 reasons to have life insurance. The very first reason is to replace income in the event that the breadwinner dies prematurely. And now that your husband is retiring, there's really no longer a need to have it for that reason. The second reason is to keep it to pay down debts, that if, again, income is not available to pay down the debt, the mortgage, the car, whatever else it may be. That would be a second reason to keep life insurance. And then the third is to keep it in the event that you have a taxable estate to help pay for estate taxes. But even then, there's probably some changes that you should be looking at. So what do you do with these 4 policies? Well, first of all, let me tell you, very few times when I have recommended to people you don't need to keep the life insurance anymore, will they give it up all right away. We're hugging that tree. Okay, we want to hold on to that. We've paid this all of our life, and now I don't want to give it up now. Well, my husband's 40 years older. He could die tomorrow. Well, he could, or it could be another 30 years into the future. And if you want to keep it, and you can afford to keep it, that's fine if you want to do it. But is there a need? And the answer for the need probably is no. But sometimes the right financial answer is not the right answer, because we do have to deal with our psychological aspects of wanting to hold on to things and our emotion. The other thing that you may want to consider doing is cash them in. And you can get on all of the 3 policies that have cash value. You can get that cash value back out, reinvest it in another place. Or the third and one that is growing in popularity, is to go to the settlement market. You've seen ads on TV. We don't recommend using those that are on TV because most of those are full with a lot of fees. But find a good settlement broker and see if there's someone who will actually buy the policies. And it doesn't happen all the time, but with a fair degree of regularity, clients will get more than the cash value if they sell the policies into the marketplace to investors who are using these to help fund pension plans, profit sharing plans, et cetera. So three things to do: continue to pay the premiums, give it up and cash it in for the cash value, or look for a life settlement company, see if you can sell the policy. But from a need standpoint, no need anymore.
Ray, how do people reach your office?
So they can reach us 2 ways and take advantage of our complimentary 1-hour consultation. First is to call the number scrolling across the bottom of the screen, 727-441-9022. That's 727-441-9022. Or send us an email at info@provise.com, and that's info at Provise, PROVISE.com. And I got to say, I can't even spell founder correctly. I know everybody's been looking at the show and saying, what's a founcer? Well, that's because I hit the C instead of a D, I guess.
It happens.
So,
Ray, you're with us the first Monday and the third Monday of every month. You'll be back again with us next month. Ray, I can't tell you how much this show appreciates Provise Management Group. Have a good week and God bless.
Thank you, Steve. You as well.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.